What's up? Cool. So, what's good, everybody? We're gonna do exactly what we did last time. I apologize for not doing this yesterday, but there was a supposed hurricane that didn't come through. So, just the usual shit. I'll show you guys how to do how I made the last song that dropped on Tuesday. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them during or after. Either way, I'll wait around at the end to see if you guys have anything to ask. Questions, comments, literally anything. I'll respond to all of it. All right, let's get into it. This last song dropped Tuesday. This last Tuesday was, and we have another one tomorrow. It's called I Asked for This. And I'm going to show you guys how I made the beat. So, this one started off as a sample. I actually got two portions to it because it kind of had like, it was like a long sample, and part of it had like a lot going on in terms of bass and all this stuff. So, I used that kind of for the hooks to let it get nice and big and wide and all that stuff. So, the main part of the sample sounds like this. Turn this shit all to you. If it's messy in here, it's because I just moved back in from the fucking storm. Alright, we were elsewhere for the storm. Okay. Boom. So the thing itself started like this. So that's pretty much that. Now, in terms of the actual... in terms of the wider aspect for the hook, this is what that sounded like. So you see how they got that wail in the background. So obviously that, didn't want that for the entire song, because that's one sure way to make everybody not want to listen any further. So we just kept that for the hook. And then I actually started in, whatever. Anyway. So let's get to the thing. As far as bass, I'll get to that part. But snare. Anyway, so for the snare, I just found one sound like this. Without the EQ, actually. You can't really hear it, but I cut a lot of this low part out that just made it real muddy, and we didn't need it. You can hear the song doesn't sound like we need it, so I took it out. And I took a little bit of the air off in the top. And yeah, as far as how I laid it out over the beat itself, over the sample. I just dropped it on every third, I believe. So it goes 1, 2, 3. That's pretty much it. It was that over and over again. I didn't do anything crazy with the snare. It's a metronome again. For those of you who don't know, that's how I use it. Now, I did have this cool little effect where I had one come like after it as a delay. So that's what this sounded like. First of all, I think it might have been the same snare, maybe? Let me check. Sounded like this, though. Yeah. Not the same thing at all. But I did put like a little delay on it so that it has this cool effect. I only did it for every other one, so I did it again. It just gives this cool little effect and stuff, and you don't really need too much in terms of like people go really fucking crazy with hi-hats. I don't really, because I just don't think that it's worth it. I feel like you can just be creative. Don't go and destroy your listeners' ears because you think it's hard as fuck. Anyway, so the next thing I did do hi-hats. I have two versions of hi-hats here. I did go slower with it. With some of them, like I always say, for me, the snares are the metronome of the song, and then I usually do hi-hats, and this, of course, all after the sample, processing the sample. So, snares, metronome, hi-hat, drive, kick is for swagger. So, I do the hi-hat, I do it in that order as well. So, the hi-hats sound more like, I liked how it was kind of dragging the song or whatever, so it allowed my vocals to kind of do their fucking thing. Of course, I can see how that's not appealing when you're just a producer and you're uploading it that way, but, I guess that's just a function of how we operate. And then I did have the hi-hats, which literally just double time whenever I had them in the hook. So it was like. And to get that specific sound of hi-hat too, this, I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's all the way up though. That right there is like I had this like trap sounding like that. But it was already slightly dark. It's very compressed sounding. I didn't compress it. It was already like that when I started using it. And then I just took out all that air and took out all the bottom and stuff. And I used like a high shelf, but I use it as a cut to take out some little extra to give it that, compressed but also dark sounding hi-hat. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's how you get that. I couldn't figure out how to get that sound any other way. That was the only way I could get it. Unless you can find one already processed that way, then good for you. So then again, we got the metronome, which has snares. We got the drive for the hi-hats. In this case, it was more of, instead of drive, it was more like brakes. I was applying the brakes to slow it down with those hi-hats. And then so I had the kicks because I knew I wanted the kicks to kind of go do their thing. I wanted it to be more of a kick-snare relationship, which you always have, but I wanted it to be kick heavy than hi-hat heavy. So then I kind of dropped in the kicks. Let me see what kick I used. Yeah, I used a kick with a shit ton of bass. Just because I wanted it to be nice and fucking fat. So anyway, this is what that sounded like in context with everything. So you see how the hi-hats dictated how quickly I was going to come in with the snares. If I just came in, you know what I mean? It would have sounded retarded. So I came in with the hi-hats. And to dictate how fast those come with the kick, but the frequency in which I drop the kicks is just up to me. But for me, I like to do this little. I want it to be more, have a little bit more in there because the swagger was a little bit more of like this real punch you in the chest like kind of feel. Anyway, so last part is the bass, and then we'll get to any questions if anybody has it. Is the bass. So the bass. What I have is I process the sample, the hook of the song, and I process the regular part of the song. So this sample right here, I basically took that, duplicated it, put it on its own track, and cut out everything with the low pass all the way down to 1,000. So just so I'll solo that for you so that you can hear that shit. There we go. And then I think I might have put in, I just compressed it. I didn't even put an R bass or anything like that. So all this stuff you're hearing on this particular song is all stock plugins. But anyway, yeah, so you can hear it if you put the sample itself and then the bass comes in. I don't know if you guys can hear it there, but it's very subtle, and it starts giving that foundation without me having to go get 808s and start doing some weird nonsense. But anyway, that's how I made the fucking song, you know what I mean? And that's how it goes. Let me see what we got in here. So, question. So, do you usually know exactly how you want the drums to be like whenever you hear the sample, making it, or usually just taking it instrument by instrument? So the way I do it, welcome everybody. If you have any questions, I just went over the beat. If you have any questions, drop them or comments or anything like that, and I'll be more than happy to answer. So somebody just asked, do I already know how I'm gonna handle these drums as soon as I hear the sample, or do I take it instrument by instrument? So kind of both, right? It really all depends on the sample, if I'm using a sample. But whatever melodic part I have there, I'll start like in this one. I took it instrument by instrument. I knew that I wanted it to kind of drag on, so I always go the same thing though: snare, hi-hat, kick, and then bass. I usually do it in that order for a particular reason. Hi, how's it going? And so basically for this one, I went with the snare, and then I just kind of figured out where it sounded. If you do it too much, like on every 2 and 4 rather than on every 3, I kind of go that by taste, and then I realize, at this point I really want to have that delay snare come in rather than a bunch of hi-hats, right? And to do that, then I realized that opened up the pathway to the hi-hats. Okay, cool, I need to start. I can't have a ton of hi-hats because I have this snare delay, so it's not going to make any sense. It's going to clash. That's kind of how I did this one. On the other side of it is, like I said, it all comes down to when you're creating a bunch of songs like I do once every week. You kind of just let whatever happens. Like today, I made a beat for the song that I'm writing this week, and whenever I actually beatboxed into my phone while listening to the sample because I did know what I wanted all the drums to do. So that's just kind of like how I approach it. It's just like whatever feels right. If just it pops in my head like this is what I want, then I go with it. But otherwise, I take it one song at one instrument at a time. But yeah, that was a good question. I mean, I think a lot of people get confused with that. It's whatever feels right with you. Anyway, so anybody else got any questions, comments, or anything like that? I'll be more than happy to answer, reply. There was supposed to be this hurricane where there wasn't, not that it didn't come, but like we thought it was going to hit us really bad, but it didn't. So that's why I'm kind of late. I was supposed to do this yesterday, but it seems a lot more people are coming in today than there was yesterday, which, I mean, for me, relatively speaking. So maybe people got more to do on a Sunday. Maybe I should start doing it on Monday. I don't know. But anyway, looks like there's no more questions. But that's pretty much it. That's how I made the beat for I Asked For This. I got another song and a music video dropping tonight at midnight. So everything's going to be up tomorrow morning so you guys can see it. But it's going to drop at that time. If you want to pre-save it, hit the link in the bio. I'm going to have more perspectives coming out for that song and the song that released last week. It's $1. You guys can get my thoughts on the song, when I wrote it, and what it makes me think about and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, it has nothing really to do with the lyrics of the song and more about my thoughts and stuff on the issues at hand that song kind of brings up in my mind. So you can kind of get to know me and what goes on in my head a little bit better. But that's pretty much it. So new song tonight. Until next time. Much love, y'all. I'm out of here. How do you stop this?